Start recording, and we're live. All right. So, guys, some of you may know that Trump is over in the UK at the moment. In case you've missed the liberal hysteria meltdown that has happened on Twitter, Trump is over in the UK at the moment. But yeah, Trump faces USS John McCain and Obama approval ratings projected under London landmarks during state visit. This is what we mean by the meltdown, but let's jump into it. Donald Trump has been faced with giant predictions of the USS John McCain and Obama approval ratings on London landmarks during his state visit, which is weird because I think at the moment Obama actually had less approval than Trump. So I don't know why they're touting those, and I'd like to know which actual stats they're using, because I imagine they're probably the best that Obama ever had. But anyway. The anti-Brexit campaign group led by donkeys tweeted the US president and an image of the USS John McCain cap projected onto Madame Tussauds in the Capitol. So, led by donkeys, tweet the president, just so you know, you're wildly unpopular here in Britain. Okay, so they're claiming that Obama had a 72... Oh, that's UK approval. Right, okay. Just so you know, you're wildly unpopular here in Britain. And that's all that article says. Now, the interesting thing here is if we bring up this here, you'll actually see they talk about the approval ratings, which is what I wanted to know about. The UK approval ratings for Obama was 72%. The UK approval ratings was 21%. Now, this is led by donkeys, right? This is nowhere near an official campaign, right? This is nowhere near an official, like, statistics, polls, or anything like that. This is led by donkeys. This chances are these ratings, I'm going to guess, are probably some Twitter poll or something like that, right? I'll be very surprised if they were real. Look, they could be. I'm going to say they could be just in case I'm wrong. But to me, this seems like it's, led by donkey. I would say that these are... So people don't like you. Do they say where these... Yeah, they don't really say where the poll's coming from, do they? But anyway, regardless, the fact is that this is a foreign country's approval ratings of the US Prime Minister. Let me play devil's advocate. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if Trump's approval ratings in the UK are 21%? Well, yeah, okay, they're an ally. Great, terrific. Whoop-de-doo. But at the end of the day, he's not the UK Prime Minister. He's the American Prime Minister. And that's the thing. At the moment, I'm pretty sure Trump's approval ratings are actually higher than Obama's. It's funny how they don't go projecting those on the side of the Tower of London, isn't it? But look, at the end of the day, yeah, who cares what the Tower of London and the approval ratings for Trump are in the UK? The Australian Prime Minister, for example, right? If he had a shit approval ratings over in the UK or in America, who cares? It's what matters. It's the country that elects him. Not this, and this is the whole New World Order, globalist bullshit mentality thinking. That somehow, because you're a US Prime Minister, you've got to be loved by everybody all over the world. No, you don't. To be honest, if Trump's doing a good job, he's going to be hated across the world. At the end of the day, if Trump is doing a really, really good job, he would have a approval rating of 21% in a foreign country. Because guess what? He's there to serve his country. Not the UK. Not Australia. Not anywhere else. And I'd like to know where he got this 21% from. Because I imagine it's probably something like a Twitter poll. They're trying to grandstand for the left, I think. Hey, how are you, Eric? Not bad, man. Look, at the end of the day, it's virtual signaling. It's a way, like, led by donkeys, happens to have his name on the bottom of this thing, right? You don't tell me... He's got a... Let me guess. He's got a huge Twitter post over this. You know, all of a sudden he has a lot more Twitter followers. You know? Like, at the end of the day, these people, sure, they believe their cause. I'm not saying they don't. But at the end of the day, the fact is that they are doing this part of a virtual signal. Look at me. I can try and piss off Trump. Do you really think Trump gives two shits about this? Do you really think Trump sits there and goes, oh no, I have 21% approval ratings, supposedly, well, what we're assuming is from a Twitter poll, in the UK. Oh no, I must do better. Let me sacrifice some of my own country so that I can go through and get better approval in the UK. Who cares? Who really gives two shits? But anyway. Talking about people that have just completely lost it. Trump faces a giant penis mowed into a field near the airport where he lands for the UK state visit in climate change protest. I don't think it's in climate change protest. I think it's just some guy who wanted to go through and put a great big penis in his lawn because he hates Trump. I tell you, if I become a prime minister or a president and I can trigger the left this much, I know I'm doing a good job. This idiot has literally gone through and mowed a giant penis into his lawn. How bonkers do you have to be to do that? I'm just putting that out there. Climate change is real, teenager points out in the message for the US president. I don't see anything about the climate change part. Oh, okay. Change is real. Climate change is real. Is that the same lawn though, or a different one? A teenager has mowed an anti-Trump message complete with a giant penis into the grass of the family home head of the US president's UK state visit. Olive Narrow, I'm mispronouncing, and good, you just doxed a kid. Well done, congratulations. Spent his weekend mowing the words Oli Trump into his lawn near Hartfield Heath in Essex. The 18-year-old used the mower to itch a giant polar bear penis and the word climate change is real into the grass, according to Bishop Stanford Independent. The A-level student hopes that the US president will spot his creation as Air Force One approaches Strategic Airport, which is near Hartfield Heath, on Monday morning. Donald Trump and his denial of climate change are not welcome, and I want to be fully aware of what he flies into Essex on Monday, he said. Trump isn't saying that climate change isn't real, you twat. He is saying that he doesn't believe it's man-made. The teenager is the founder of Born Eco, a website, oh my god, a friggin' far leftist, who would have thought? A website which connects shoppers with eco-friendly traders. Let me guess, they're dearer. Mr. Trump's congressional state visit will unfold over 3 days. He's expected to meet the Queen and senior royal Buckingham Palace before the dignitaries gather for a state dinner on Monday evening. Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the opposition, is boycotting the event, while Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, has compared Mr. Trump to a fascist of the 20th century. Mind you, Sadiq Khan got trolled on Twitter by the US president, and not only that, but Sadiq Khan has a huge problem with London and crime. So maybe he could use a little bit more policing in his seemingly lack of police state. Now look, at the end of the day, obviously Sadiq Khan having knife crimes, murders, robberies and all that seemingly are higher than New York City, obviously is an embarrassment. And I'm glad that he is more worried about what Trump is up to rather than going through and fixing his own city. But anyway. Last week, the White House instructed a major U.S. government department to cease prediction of the long-term effects of climate change crisis, in which move which infuriated environmental campaigners and their backers. But anyway. So yeah. That's seemingly all for that article too. Yeah, no worries. Alright, welcome to the UK Arms. Trump London pub welcomes the UK president. The US president during the UK visit. So obviously not everybody is upset over this. Obviously some people are completely fine with Trump visiting the UK. But never mind, I suppose. The narrative. Tucked away in the quiet corner of West London, thousands of miles away from Washington, a pub has been renamed to the Trump Arms in honour of the state visit by the President of the United States. This will be the second time the landlord of the Irish pub, the 53-year-old Dimmy Smith, is making the gesture. The first time it was in July 2018. Pictures show the newly dubbed the Trump Arms, packed with patrons offering alternative view of the president's visit after the Londons offered a very different greeting. You mean some Londoners. The very vocal minority of Londoners. And of course it's London. Like, it's got more immigrants than you can possibly put a stick at. I wonder why they don't like Trump. A very different greeting. A giant blimp dubbed the Trump baby, which depicts the president as a pubescent infant displayed over Parliament. Donald Trump himself, and by the way, it's not that big actually. It looks bigger in the picture, but it's really quite small. Donald Trump himself told the Sun newspaper, though, he thought the pub's renaming was wonderful. It's actually quite funny because Trump hears about the pub, but I wonder if he heard about the kid mowing the lawn. I love those people, Trump told the newspaper. Those are my people. That quote is plastered along the walls of the Trump's Arms, as well as numerous American flags, pictures of Trump and the Republic Oval Office, where attendees can enjoy a drink while seated across from the image of Trump displayed on the wall. Now, we did it last year when Trump visited the UK, Smith told ABC News. We've done it again because now he's coming here on Monday. We must mark the great relationship between the British, the Irish, and the American people. Oh yeah, it is up there. That's cool. Smith and the Americans are more. Smith said Americans are more than welcome, and he expects plenty of people across the pond to come to the pub when Trump arrives. The president's arrival last year was met with a massive protest on the street of London. Still, Trump does have a significant support across the Atlantic, and Smith believes that the way his last trip was represented was unfair. Oh yeah, okay. So renaming the pub is a show of respect for the office of the president, he said, and it celebrates the transatlantic bound that, for Smith, harkens back to the Second World War. Which is a true fact, too. They had no quarrels about helping this country or the country next door, he said. Oh, shit. Sorry, guys, I just got an update. B-52 bomber, nuclear bomber, has just crashed. And said about the show, respect the Americans, the Irish, and the British are great friends, and now we're family. More protests are planned in London to mark Trump's arrival, and although he doesn't drink alcohol, Trump will surely feel welcome, at least in one corner of the capital. Probably most people don't give a shit, to be honest. I wish someone with a sniper rifle would take out that baby balloon. Yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, man, I tend to think that, look, at the end of the day, let them have their protest, let them have their balloon. It's... Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't have a problem with people protesting. I really don't. People want to protest, go for it, knock yourselves out. Yeah. But yeah, I obviously I don't like it when it turns into beating people and stuff like that, but I think they should be able to protest. If you don't like Trump, go and protest by all means. Alright? Go and have your little song and dance. It's not going to change anything. Guess what? He's still the American president. He's still more popular than Obama, as far as I know. And at the end of the day, he's still going to be president tomorrow. So, 2 scoops, 2 genders, 2 terms. That's all I got to say to that. Alright. President Trump, Queen Elizabeth reaffirming close ties between the US and the UK, commemorated the D-Day invasion at a banquet. So, President Trump capped off the day of his London visit Monday by dining with the Queen, Elizabeth, and other members of the royal family in a lavish state banquet at Buckingham Palace, ending in a turmoil and busy day that saw the president taking the sights of the British capital while levelling insults at London Mayor Sadiq Khan. Both Trump and the Queen offered formal toasts ahead of the dinner. The visits by the American presidents are always reminding us of the close relationship between the UK and the US, Queen Elizabeth said in her toast, before referencing the Allied mission on D-Day during World War II. We owe an immense debt to the joint British and American Allied forces that landed in Normandy on June 6, 1944, the Queen said. The anniversary of the D-Day reminds us all of our country and our shared together. Trump is set to travel to Normandy later this week to commence commemorations 75 years after the Allied invasion. Yeah, 75 years, yep. In his toast, Trump reaffirms the close ties between London and Washington, noting that countries' joint efforts in defending Nazi Germany during World War II. The bond between our nation was sealed in the greatest crusade, Trump said. We reaffirm our common values that will continue well into the future. Fashion note, Melania Trump meets the Queen in iconic heavy pure hat. Okay. Good on her, I suppose. The Queen gives Trump and Melania gifts during her visit to the UK. Queen Elizabeth II gave President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump welcome gifts on Monday on behalf of the royal monarch during the family's first state trip to the United Kingdom. And continuing the tradition of the providing gifts for foreign dignitaries, the Queen gave Trump an Ambridge first edition, The Second World War by Winston Churchill. The book, printed in 1959, is adorned with the gold-toned crimson cover, silk papers, and featured hand-sewn red and white blue headbands. Reported CNN, Churchill wrote the book based on his accounts and diaries of World War II. Trump has been a long-time admirer of the late British Prime Minister. While meeting the royal family in July 2018, he notably was photographed sitting in Churchill's chair in Chequers, the Prime Minister's office country home. In addition to the book, Queen also gifted Donald Trump a set of Dunfold pens adorned with Her Majesty's obsidian design. The set comprised a fountain pen and a rollback pen and a ballpoint pen. Melania was also given a specially commiseration silver box with handcrafted engraved lid, and the box was designed with rose, thistle, and Stockholm image, symbolic of England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Moreover, the 3 symbols can be seen on the ceiling pattern of the music room of Buckingham Palace. President Trump lays waiths, might be mispronouncing, at a tomb of the unknown warrior in Westminster Abbey. President Donald Trump laid a wreath at the prayer and a prayer over the enduring remains of an unknown combatant of the Great War of 1914 to 1918 on Monday morning. during the visit of the Westminster Abbey on his state visit to the United Kingdom. The visit to the Abbey and the historic place of the burial of conservations of English and British kings and queens for nearly 1,000 years was hosted by British Royal Prince Andrew and the chapter officers of the Abbey itself. Which is kind of nice, I suppose, yeah. BBC angers viewers with baby Trump balloon in studio, which, aren't they a government-sponsored network? Just putting that out there. Who would have thought the BBC could do anything to draw the ire of watchers? This is the BBC, for God's sake, not TMC, CNN, or the National Enquirer. Extremely poor decision by BBC, tweeted Tim Monarch, a British activist and columnist. The BBC's stunt involved the network presenter Victoria Dubshaw hanging out with a baby version of an inflatable puffy orange President Trump blimp in the studio. It was complete with nipples, chest hair, and open mouth, and a big yellow mane. The sting is that this all went down as Trump arrived in London Monday morning. Can you imagine the poor chap who had to blow this thing up? Or maybe she did. Maybe she's full of hot air. If it's not Trump's... It's not as if Trump didn't recently bash the late Senator John McCain on foreign soil, or although the president's aide protect Trump from triggering sights of ships named for one of his dead political enemies. The biggest 20-foot version of the blimp is a protest of Trump's first official state visit to the UK. London Mayor Sadiq Khan authorised the giant balloon to fly. There she is there with the blimp. Morgan predicted that Trump would amuse the Queen more than most. I think the Queen rather likes President Trump. Bet he makes her laugh more than the most of the dreary politicians she has to meet. Woof. So... yeah, it's pretty cringe. So, businessman Adam Campbell said the BBC's use of the ugly blimp shows the network's political bias. Well, we all knew they were biased. There was no need to bring that into the studio and give the perpetrators publicity during so. He wrote, the BBC once were a symbol of respect throughout the world. Now they're just a biased organisation. Sick. I no longer believe or entrust. How much further can it sink? Pathetic. Timberland technology specialist Carl Babby was beyond outraged. Quite ghastly of the BBC, he wrote. Brexit Party member Jordan Sculpture was also displeased. I have to say I agree. I'm not reactionary, but I instantly grimaced when I saw it on telly. He wrote, sad that our media have sunk this low. Trump has only been in the UK for a matter of hours. He's already gorged CNN, calling it fake news and all negative, which is fairly true. Mostly negative. It's hard to imagine him not sinking a pen, so to speak, into the blimp. The days we're on. Look, at the end of the day, I think that especially a state-funded television station should not be politically biased. Look, at the end of the day, this is the BBC. They receive government funding to operate. And here they are, literally putting up a baby balloon of Trump, who, like we've already said before, has what? Yeah. Just asking the question, what language do you guys think the UK would be speaking right now if it hadn't been for the US? You know, I don't want to get this whole argument of, you know, the US came and saved your ass in World War II, so you owe them a sort of thing. But at the end of the day, having a little bit of respect for a foreign leader whose country literally saved your ass from speaking German, just going to say, maybe the UK should be a little bit more respectful of foreign dignities, especially networks of government-funded organisations. But you know, if this went the other way, the left would lose their shit, right? The left would be calling it out. If Sadiq Khan was over in the US, say, for example, or not Sadiq Khan, because that's not really comparative. Well, I suppose it's not really comparative because he's only a London mayor, but we'll use it as an example anyway. You imagine German and Japanese. Exactly, Raymond. That's what they'd be speaking. You'd be Haskanagan. And that's my bad German impersonation there. But at the end of the day, I was going to say, the fact is, like, so imagine if Sadiq Khan went to the US and NPR or whatever it may be went through and literally put up a baby balloon of Sadiq Khan with like a knife or something like that in the background or whatever, or just something to mock Sadiq Khan and the high amounts of terror attacks and just criminal activities that are going on over in London right now. Do you imagine how much the mainstream media would be losing their shit right now? CNN would be calling it wildly inappropriate. The BBC would be sitting there going up on their soapbox going about, how dare you attack our London mayor? Mind you, they would do they've done the exact same thing to Trump. How dare you attack the London mayor? Wait a minute, hold my beer. Let us go through and bring in a baby Trump balloon. I don't know. To be honest, Trip, I reckon it's best to let them do this sort of stuff. Because all this is going to do is hurt the BBC. People are going to look at this and go, literally, it's the BBC for God's sake, not TMZ or CNN or the National Enquirer. Do you know how low you have to have sunk before people start lumping you in with TMZ, which is a widely known tabloid sort of show, or CNN, which is known as fake news? All this does is this proves that the BBC is basically the same as CNN. And that's not one thing that you want. That's not a comparing that you want at all. Because that just shows you how bad it is. So I'd say, go through. Put up your balloons. Do your penises in your lawns. I can't believe I'm saying this, but by all means do it. The left, lose your shit. I want the left melting down in the streets. I want them sitting there going, no! Oof, that's, Trump, Trip, oof, man. I wasn't going to go there, but okay, yeah, all that would probably work. Oh, shit. A little spicy there, Trip. But like I say, just having the left meltdown is great for the Republicans. This stunt with the BBC, you know what this is? This is 2020 Trump's re-election campaign. Vote for me because these guys are batshit crazy. Vote for me, who's helped reduce taxes, reduced unemployment, bringing back jobs to America, helping the American economy, or you can vote for the left, who literally will put up baby balloons of me in their studios, who will fly baby balloons over Buckingham Palace, or who will stand in the streets screaming at the sun or the stars or the moon or whatever they were screaming at, screaming no. Like, can anybody remember when they tried to... Not only was it a huge failure because there was only a few people that did it, but at the end of the day, the ones that did it looked freaking crazy. Who would go out at 10 o'clock at night or whatever it was and scream at the moon? unless you're a werewolf. But like I say, but this is how rabid, get it, rabbit werewolf. This is how rabid the left are right now. They've lost their shit, and this is Trump's 2020 election campaign. Vote for me, because otherwise, this is your other option. Vote for me, because you sure as shit don't want these crazy ass people to get into power. That's going to be his 2020 campaign. Congratulations. But anyway. But yeah, state banquet. Queen honours the UK-US alliance. Trump celebrated shared values of freedom and sovereignty. So as I say, let them protest. I don't have a problem with the left doing this shit. Because all it does is it makes it look stupid. Makes them look idiotic. And at the end of the day, go for it. Knock yourselves out. Show the world how stupid you really, really are. And we'll see who wins in 2020 right now. And yeah. But anyway. But guys, let me know what you think regarding this in the comment section below. All I'm sitting here seeing this is just left meltdown over this. This is just leftist snowflakes who are just losing their stuff or losing their shit because Trump's visiting. Good on you, Trump. You can literally trigger the UK as much as the US when it comes to the left. You are a lord among memes, literally. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below.